holiday season is here, folks, and man, what a wonderful season it is. Putting up your Christmas decorations, your Christmas tree, listening to Christmas carols, drinking eggnog, eating cookies, and most importantly, spending time with family. These are all great memories to make, but we all have that one Christmas that we remember the most fondly. You know, that one Christmas where you had so much fun that every other Christmas you've had was never able to top it? Well, for me, that was when I got this ungodly creature, the Nintendo Wii. Man, is this console important to me. I only owned one video game before I got this console, but the Wii solidified my love for gaming. It's done the same for many other people too, and the console is very important to the gaming industry. It popularized and in many ways perfected the use of motion controls, and with its vast appeal, it played a large part in how video game culture is now, and it provided tons of memorable experiences that you don't really see anymore. So, in honor of the Wii's 15th anniversary, I'm going to be covering all of that. The Wii's menu, channels, handling of legacy content, its games, all within a big retrospective. So grab your Wiimotes, tighten your straps so you don't throw them at your screens, and maybe bring some refreshments with you. This is a retrospective on the Nintendo Wii. Now, before we get into the console itself, we need to take a look at its development. It's important to know why it was made and understand what Nintendo was trying to achieve. It would also uncover some possibly funny and fairly interesting secrets. Our story begins with a company named Gyration. Gyration had created a patent for motion control technology. The technology was considered the best for its time, and Tom Quinn, the CEO and creator of the technology, felt like it could be well applied to video games. First, they approached Microsoft and Sony, but they both passed. Microsoft, more specifically the Xbox team, was strongly opposed to it, almost to the point of being straight up rude.
That's a stupid idea.
What?
It's a stupid idea! You're a stupid man! A stupid man!
So in 2001, soon after the launch of the GameCube, Gyration pitched the idea to Nintendo. Initially, Nintendo was split on the decision until finally deciding to license Gyration's patents and even buy some of their company. And thus, they began work on the console's controllers, with Miyamoto spearheading their development. Satoru Iwata, who was president of Nintendo at the time, proposed that the console's motion controls would simplify the gaming interface, making it easier to understand and appeal to all people. See, Iwata felt that gaming had become too exclusive and wanted Nintendo to make hardware and games that would be for, well, everyone. During this time, the Wii was codenamed Revolution, and it was unveiled during E3 2005. The Wii controllers were still being developed at the time, so Iwata was only able to show off a prototype of the console itself. He discussed the relatively small size of the console, the concept of virtual console, backwards compatibility with the GameCube, and the appeal to new gamers, casual gamers, and core gamers. Iwata also announced that a new Smash game was in development, but it didn't even start until after he announced it. A year later, at E3 2006, the console's final name was revealed: Wii. Now, why did Nintendo change the name? Well, I'll just have the absolute legend, Reggie Fils-Aimé, explain.
Wii from Nintendo means just what it sounds like. Wii. It's the sound of inclusion, the sound of every gamer you know and every new gamer who's going to join us. It's a giant leap for gaming, for everyone around the world.
In short, the console's name literally sounds like the word Wii, and it perfectly alludes to how the console is basically for everybody. While the name is indeed clever, many people did not like the name change.
Next, the name. First, we want to thank everyone who wrote good things about it the day you heard it. Both of you.
This BBC News outlet from 2006 reported that a long list of satirical jokes about the Wii's name were made just a day after it was announced. Reggie would then go on to defend it, saying that Wii is something short, distinctive, and easily pronounceable for all cultures. Once again, going with that inclusiveness that the Wii strives for. While that is indeed admirable, I think you gotta admit, Revolution sounded way cooler. During the presentation, several launch titles were shown off, though some of these would be pushed back. These included games such as Wii Sports, Super Mario Galaxy, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, WarioWare Smooth Moves, Excite Truck, and a few others. So after a few months, the Wii was finally released on November 19th, 2006 to critical acclaim. The console took the world by storm and it became a runaway success. In its first 3 years, it was almost impossible to find one in store shelves. It became a cultural icon, and to this day, it remains Nintendo's most successful home console. Over 101 million copies sold worldwide. Now, enough with the history lesson. Let's talk about the console. Alright, first things first. When we first boot up the Wii, we are greeted with...
What?
A warning with bland text. Come on, you couldn't have at least used this or something? I guess we'll have to settle for this crappy warning. And I say crappy because this warning says absolutely nothing. It's literally a warning about your health and safety that tells you to read about your health and safety. That's not a warning. That's telling you to do something. Also, is there anybody who actually read this? Like, seriously, I am very certain everybody who bought this thing just pressed A immediately. Look, the Wii has a demographic consisting of all ages, but it's not like anybody's gonna swallow the dang thing, send it off to war, or use it as a toaster?
You know what they say, all toasters toast toast.
Overall, pretty underwhelming startup. But what comes after this more than makes up for it. Now this is more like it. This is the Wii Menu. It is the primary interface for the console. It displays the current date and time, you can navigate it with the Wii Remote, and it has these applications in a 4x3 grid. But more on them in a minute. Unlike a lot of consoles these days, the Wii's menu is instantly understandable. You know exactly what to do once you start using this thing. Once again, a clear indication of the vast amount of people they were appealing to when they made this console. Also, the Wii menu is another example of great ambient console menus. This was pretty much the norm in the 2000s. Every console during this decade had an ambient menu with its own unique feel. They were charming in their own ways, and they were all oozing with personality. The Wii is definitely no exception. When you get past the crappy warning screen, you hear a ringing echo, which turns into a soft and ambient melody. The intensity of the melody fluctuates, but it still keeps it at a very, very soft level. It's such soothing music, I could listen to it for hours. In fact, I have listened to it for hours. The entire menu itself is super comfortable too. The ambiance is a large part of that, but the other stuff you can do on the menu does a good job as well. Navigating the menu with the Wii Remote is like sitting down on a couch and flipping through channels until you find what you want to watch. The controller being modeled like a TV remote really brings that together. When you're with other people, it's like sitting down on a couch and having a wholesome night with your family, friends, or your significant other at the TV. Let's be honest, we all need a vibe like this. Especially now. I mean, it is the holidays after all. Now that we've talked about the menu itself, why don't we talk about what's on the menu? The Wii Channels. These were created with the idea of television channels. And it shows. You know how you have these rows of TV all playing something different? That's what these things are like. The channels help the menu to be more understandable while maintaining enough depth. You immediately know what everything does just by looking at them. It's quite a substantial amount of these channels as well. Why don't we go through them? Let's start with the disc channel. There may not be a lot of substance to this channel at face value, but there's a lot of charm to it. The disc channel is how you launch a physical copy of a game. Now, what's so charming about the disc channel is that once you load up a game, the channel will play an animated splash screen provided by the game itself. These are so fun to watch and it gives the game that much more personality.